Hi, Jake Mezrahi here, artist, and today I'd like to talk to you about one of my paintings, part of a larger series, but today I'll just be focusing on this one. So this painting is based on what I picked, the 9 holidays in the Jewish year, okay, or the people of Israel. And I'll be talking about each section. Each section represents a different holiday. They actually are appearing in somewhat of a chronological order according to when they occur in the year. So we're going to start off over here, up in the corner there, and that is the holiday of Passover. So what you see here is actually based on symbolism that I pick up from my experiences in as a child or as an adult. In this particular case, this was based actually on the movie The Ten Commandments. So as a child, I used to watch The Ten Commandments probably several times per year. My family did. It was one of our favorite movies. And in the movie, you see that they take, in the part where the name Passover actually comes from, they take lamb's blood and they put it on the outside of the door, on the door frame. Okay, and that symbolizes the houses of the Jewish people, who are the Hebrew people who lived in Israel, so that the angel of death would pass over their house, and only the firstborn of the Egyptians would die. So this is an image from that movie, and that was one of the images, even before growing up and really understanding what Passover, the holiday, was, understanding the Torah, the Bible. I watched that movie several times a year, and that was my image of Passover. That was my image of the holiday. Of course, with the Seder, family did the Seder, but this stood out more to me. The power of what happened in the movie. So I put that symbolism there to represent that, because that was the initial and strongest association of imagery I got with that holiday. So that star actually occurs in the springtime, and it is one of the several New Years for the Jewish people, the Hebrew people, in the spring. And follow up with that, and 49 days later, so actually the first two holidays here are connected. I mean, they're all connected, but these are directly connected in that the holiday of Shavuot, which is this holiday represented here, in English that would be the Festival of Weeks, occurs 49 days after the first night of Passover. Passover is a 7-day holiday. And in this picture, in this image, you see that the section has been broken up into 49 boxes for the 49 days, that the 7 weeks of the time period between Passover and Shavuot. We count something called the Omer. And on Shavuot, when there was a temple in Jerusalem, there would be a wheat offering from new harvest that was taken. So that's what you see inside the boxes, is the wheat field, the growing wheat field, and that's one of the things that I connected with. I actually didn't learn about the holiday of Shavuot until I was an adult, and the counting of the Omer was the first thing that I related to personally. And I also like the idea of agriculture, growing. I like to grow myself. I have a garden, and in our family, we're very into eating healthy, organic food, organic methods, whatever. So the idea of growing and agriculture and all that, kind of more recent symbolism was placed into that section of the painting. So we start off in the spring, and the Shavuot is a holiday between spring and summer. So fast forward a few months to the holiday of Rosh Hashanah, which occurs in the fall, and this holiday is symbolized by the shofar, okay, the ram's horn that is blown on that holiday, which Rosh Hashanah, which is the head of the year. That's what, when you translate Rosh Hashanah, it means head of the year. So Rosh Hashanah is the new year, the head of the year for the world. It is believed to be the day that Adam was created, and therefore man was created, and the world was created as we know it. Okay, even if you believe there was a world before that, we're saying that Rosh Hashanah is the beginning of our world. So Rosh Hashanah is, again, just symbolized by mainly the shofar, and that was one of my favorite parts. Growing up, I did attend Rosh Hashanah services every year. All my whole life I've attended it. And the highlight of that is the sound of the shofar blowing. It's a very unique sound, and it's a very powerful sound in physically and spiritually. So right in the middle, right now I'm just going to talk about also the overall theme or style of the painting. It's a stained glass style, even though it's a painting, it's not actual glass. This is on actual board, but it looks like stained glass because also, again, growing up, one of the things that was symbolic and important in my life was these 6 beautiful, huge stained glass windows that was around the synagogue I grew up going to. The colors of it, the shape of it, the way that the colors and are placed side by side, with the black lines dividing them, it's a very comforting thing to me and to many other people who grew up or spend their whole life in even other spiritual places where stained glass is used. So now moving down, approximately 10 days after the holiday of Rosh Hashanah, we get to the holiday of Yom Kippur. So why did I use a chicken to symbolize the holiday of Yom Kippur? Well, if you look at the holiday Yom Kippur, it actually has no physical symbols. We fast, we refrain from doing a lot of things, and we're basically praying all day. You might think that Yom Kippur should be symbolized maybe by a prayer book, but actually, what is Yom Kippur? The holiday of Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur in English would translate as the Day of Atonement. So what does atonement mean? And so I was trying to find a symbolic thing that I associated with atonement. Growing up, not every year, but many years growing up, my family, around the time of Yom Kippur, not actually on the day of Yom Kippur, we would do a custom that some find, a little odd, but again, you have to understand where it comes from. It's just a tradition and a custom. You don't have to do it, but many people do it, where you take a live chicken or hen, depending on if you're, a rooster or hen. If you're male, you would take a rooster, and female would take a hen, and you circle it around your head. Okay, well, sometimes someone else holds it for you, or you can hold it yourself if you're brave enough. And you circle. In the case when I grew up, my father would hold it for me, or the rabbi would hold it for me, and he would circle it around my head. And we would say a prayer, and we don't believe that there was there's anything in the ritual directly that was creating any kind of it's not like a voodoo kind of thing where we're trying to do magic or anything. It's just basically symbolic. It's meant to teach us a lesson. So what would happen is the chicken would be donated to charity. It would be given to a family as a gift of charity, and so in a sense it would atone for us, in the fact that charity atones. Why is a chicken used? If you learn about the offerings in the temple, maybe that might make some sense. It's very hard to understand it, but again, as a child growing up, it was probably one of my few encounters with a live farm animal like that, but it always stood out to me, and I somehow enjoyed it and were comforted by it. I haven't done it in many years, but it was the symbolism that I remember for atonement and Yom Kippur was that. So actually in the middle here is the holiday of Purim, but I'm going to come back to this last. It doesn't occur between Yom Kippur and Sukkot. Sukkot's the next holiday, but I put it in the middle because it's my favorite holiday, and I'll talk about that last. So this holiday is the holiday of Sukkot, or the Tabernacle, the Festival of Tabernacles in English. There are a couple important key things we do during this holiday. One, we build a sukkah, or what some people call a hut, or a tent, where most people just eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner in this, sit in it, maybe hang out in it, talk in it, learn some Torah, spend time with guests and friends. Okay, growing up, only 1 year in my family's house did we build a sukkah. I don't know what. 1 year I was really inspired by it, and I asked my dad, I'm like, can we build a sukkah? And we did that 1 year. Now I do build one every year for the past 5 years, and there's something I like about building it. Building something, even though it's only for a week, it's temporary. It's actually a lot of work, but it's the physical aspect of building it and sitting in it, going outside. It's cooling down. It's fall time, usually September, October, and going outside. So the other part of Sukkot is the lulav and estrog, which is a citron fruit, a palm branch, which is then surrounded by a myrtle branch and a willow branch. So these four things are taken and put together, and we shake them. And this is also part of the holiday. We take it, and I didn't actually do that really until I was an adult. But that's another, part of it. It's a symbolism. It's supposed to teach us a lesson. That's something I could discuss at a different time. But all these traditions and customs are meant to teach us a lesson, to teach us something about life, about God, about ourselves, about how we should interact with each other. Okay, and if we really, I believe, if we don't gain that lesson from it, then it's not really fulfilling its purpose. So I always seek to understand the things that I'm doing, and of course that ends up turning into paintings. Okay, or a lot of times when I'm researching for a painting, I'll look into the topic even deeper, and I'll learn more about it, and I'll put different kinds of small symbolisms within the painting. Okay, so the sukkah being red was actually inspired by a handmade sukkah I saw in a museum one time, and I always said I want to build my own sukkah, paint it, and like the panels, kind of like a big painting of a sukkah, an artistic sukkah. I did do that one year. Okay, it was a lot of work. I still have pieces of it in my garage, but that was my first year that I built my own sukkah by hand out of pieces, and I still have some really cool pictures of that. Maybe I'll share that another time. So then we go down over here to the holiday of Hanukkah, which is a holiday that's not actually in the Torah or the Bible. It is a holiday that came about later, and Hanukkah is a holiday of light, of positive, and for me, throughout my whole life, there's just been one symbolism, and that's lighting the menorah. And there's different things I've learned from it over the years about why we light the menorah and what it means, and about watching. We're supposed to sit around the menorah after we light it and look at it. And sometimes I do that, and I look at the flames, and there's things you could learn from a flame, which also you could learn on Shabbat. Okay, this one is the holiday of Tu Bishvat, which is said to be the new year of trees and fruits. The fruits I chose here: pomegranate. This is an estrog. You have grapes, figs, apples. So I chose these because they are somewhat spiritual fruits. The apple was connected to the Adam and Eve. Some people say it wasn't an apple. Some people say it was grapes. Some people say it was figs because they used the fig leaves in the story right afterwards. Some people say it was the pomegranate that they ate. Some people say it was the citron, the estrog. So there's a lot of different. The apple is one of the wider accepted ones, but they could have been any of them. So I decided to use all those fruits in the basket of representing the holiday. The last one here is the holiday of Shabbat, which actually occurs every week. It's actually a holiday. And growing up in our family, we always said the Kiddush over wine, and that was a very important family time for us each week. And for me, the holiday of Shabbat and all the holidays actually represent family time we spend together with our loved ones. So Shabbat is the holiday where you connect with your family, your friends, your community, and you stop everything else you're doing and just focus on them. And of course, also focus on your spirituality, on God. And the last one here, Purim, which is in the center, a holiday I did celebrate as a child, but I didn't really start loving it as much until I was an adult. And this mask is actually in many of my paintings. There's a mask actually I saw in Venice on my honeymoon. But the real interesting part of this is if you look behind the mask, you see an upside down crown, which actually I think is in 3 or 4 of my paintings already. It symbolizes the hidden miracles that occur in our everyday lives. So Purim was a holiday of a hidden miracle. A miracle occurred, and it was somewhat in a hidden way. It wasn't so open. It seemed like it was just a chance that it occurred. But it was a miracle. So the crown, which represents God, and is hidden because in miracles sometimes we don't see that they occur through God. That's what the mask and the wearing a costume in Purim is also supposed to symbolize, the hiddenness of miracles in our life. And I'm sure many of us have had hidden miracles, meaning they were, it was a miracle, but it was just a regular occurrence. But to us, we're like, that the way it happened and the way we feel about what happened. If you really look for that spiritual connection, you'll see miracles in your life or miracles around you. Okay, and this is the symbolism of Purim. And Purim is said actually a lot of times to be one of the holiest holidays of the year, even more than the most frequently celebrated one, which is Yom Kippur. And Hanukkah is also frequently celebrated, but Purim is said to be even a more spiritual holiday because there's a lot of hidden meaning in it. And I actually have several paintings that get into the hidden miracle aspect of the story of Purim. So this is really just a short summary of some of the symbolism in this painting. I really could spend hours on it, and really in any painting, but I just wanted to go over it real quick so you could see some of the reasons why I created this painting the way I did, and why I chose to put, out of all the different things I could have used to symbolize the holidays in this, why I put them there and what they mean and how it related to me and to my life. So again, thank you for watching. Again, artist Jake Mezrahi. I hope you watch again.